want you to stay poor. They want to keep getting rich. Don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do. Interest rates are higher than usual. Inflation is up. We're in an election year. The economy is not doing great. So what should you do in these times? And what are they telling you to do? I always start off my shows saying that the government doesn't care about you. Banks don't care about you. Real freedom is financial freedom. So take control of your finances and you'll take back control of your life. Now there's something I want to talk about that I showed on Wednesday. This is Friday. I do this every Friday. We talk about how to help preserve your wealth. On my channel, I primarily focus on two things. One, help people get out of debt, showing as many different methods as possible, some that seem a little crazy, but they work. And then also how to create passive income through your investing and preserve your wealth. And it dawned on me, those two things aren't different. You don't have to complete phase one of getting out of debt before you can start phase two of saving for your future. Getting out of debt is a way of preserving your wealth because high interest rate debt is keeping you from saving for your future. So in a way, eliminating that debt is helping you save and preserve your wealth for the future. So before we get into what I do every Friday, which is looking at commodities, because we'll talk about how the dollar is dead, let me point something out that's a little frustrating. And that is on Wednesday, I talked about home equity lines of credit. Now, follow me here. Now, I have to say this is never financial advice. This is just my opinion. But the economy is not doing well. GDP is going down. That's the wealth of the nation. How productive are we as a people? Products, goods, services. Then inflation. Inflation's up. It was up higher, and it's still over 3%. That's not good. Unemployment's going up, and we have people leaving the workforce. Companies are laying people off. The 2-year, 10-year Treasury and other indicators are showing that we're in a recession and have been for a while. I talk about how to create and help you create emergency savings and make them last. But what's frustrating is that the economy, the U.S. economy, is driven by consumer spending. It's quite a large chunk. So they want you, banks and the government, to keep spending because it makes it look like we have a strong economy. But we've been seeing that people are maxing out their credit cards. They've bought homes at prices that they can't afford. They're at 40 to 50% of some of the people's budgets is just to pay their housing costs. It should be more like 30 or less, 25 or 22%. So we have all these indicators that people are taking on substantial debt to continue their lifestyle instead of trying to make some hard choices. And what they're pushing now is home equity lines of credit. Why? Because they want you to take a chunk of money out, turn around and put it back into the economy. Well, that doesn't help you if you're going more into debt. And just today, I saw 2 articles on the CBS News site. One in particular was pointing out, hey, how much does it cost to get an $80,000 home equity line of credit? Very interesting article. It doesn't say, go get a line of credit. You should get a line of credit. No, it just kind of puts that question out there to make you think, well, I don't know. We're seeing this narrative where they're trying to push you to spend more, to take out more loans. That is not in your best interests. I also talked about on prior shows what I call double-edged sword. Every financial instrument is a double-edged sword. If you're using a home equity line of credit and you're getting it at, let's just say 10%, and you're wiping out debts that were 20%, and you've got your budget in order, you're not spending more than you make, great. You're using it in the proper fashion. But if you're taking out a home equity line of credit and you say, oh, look, free money, I'm going to go buy a bunch of assets that go down in value. I'm going to get that $5,000 bike that's going to be worth $2,000 2 weeks from now. You think that sounds stupid. I know someone who did that. And now I'm just going to sit at my garage and never ride it. That's ridiculous. That makes no sense. Banks don't care. Government doesn't care. They're happy. Yeah, do that. Put more money back into the economy. Makes us look great. All right. This is an election year. This is also summertime. So often, historically speaking, when it comes to stock market or any type of assets or investments, summertime is usually pretty steady. They call it like a sideways chop. Things don't usually take off in value. Things don't usually drop too much in value. It's always a good time to take a breather, look at your finances, reevaluate where you are, get yourself out of debt. So let's talk about what I always say: the dollar is dead. The U.S. government has put us into so much debt. more debt than we've ever had as a nation. You probably think, well, that happens every year. It always goes up in debt. Okay, it does. Should it? I wouldn't think so, but it does. There's no reason they can't have a balanced budget, but they're not going to do it. I think, I'm not sure, but I'm just guessing that if we were to go 10 years back, or 20 years back, I'm not sure anyone really projected the amount of debt that the U.S. government currently has. How does that affect you? In many ways, and I've talked about that in prior episodes. But essentially, it hurts your income. It makes asset prices more expensive. For you, the consumer, it is just bad, bad, bad. So if the dollar is losing value, and it's been shown that over the last 100 years, it lost 99% of its value. So if you held dollars, they went down. If you held things like gold or silver, they went up. And there's other opportunities. Of course, there's real estate, there's stocks, there's all sorts of things. So every Friday I talk about how if you have some savings, have your savings for 3 or 6 months, whatever your emergency savings is, cover your bills. But what the rich do is they take the rest of that money and they don't keep it in the bank as dollars. They go out there and they buy assets like gold, silver, and now these days crypto like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, I know probably many of you are thinking, I don't believe in this cryptocurrency stuff. Well, let me just point something out. When I was a kid, and I realized that was a long time ago, I grew up, and until maybe 3rd grade, no one had a personal computer in their house. Didn't exist. Then personal computers showed up. That's right. You're probably thinking, good grief, we have 5 in our house. We've got laptops, we've got desktops, we've got tablets, we've got phones. Right. I lived through the point where I was programming as a little kid. There were no computers in the house. Now everyone's got one. Amazing. Then, what about the internet? Why would you send an email? That doesn't make any sense. What is an email anyway? Oh my goodness. Now everyone's online and every house has internet going into their house. I remember when homes didn't have lightning fast internet, where I got a T1 from one of my businesses and it cost over $1,000 a month, and you get a T1 almost speed-wise to your house for like $50. That's ridiculous. Now everyone has internet and everyone's using email and we can't live without it. That was amazing. Phones. I grew up with a phone attached to the wall. One phone. That was it. When I left the house, no one could contact me. That was actually a good time. I liked that time. No one could call me. No one could contact me. It was awesome. I kind of miss that. Now I got a phone in my pocket. Sometimes I have 2 in my pockets. It's ridiculous. Everyone has a phone. Not only do they have a phone, it's a personal computer. It's incredibly powerful. Can't live without it, right? Crypto. Now you might be thinking, that's bull, that's malarkey. No, it's not. It is, in my opinion, the future of technology innovation. They are putting real world assets. In other words, they're tokenizing things like treasuries. We talk about treasuries, we will in a moment. You got to buy them certain times of the week at an auction. Now, through crypto, you can buy them 24/7, any day or time of the week. That's amazing. When you bring something like that to the table technology-wise, it's adopted, it's used. So I'm going to put a link below because I'm doing a daily show with just basic crypto on another channel, information, if you want to learn more about it. Let's get to this week's commodities. And the whole purpose of this is to show you that if you were to hold dollars, they're going down in value. But if you take some of that and buy things like gold or silver or crypto or other assets, assets go up in value, and that's what the rich do. Look at inflation. Houses go up in value? Cars go up in value? Gold, silver, everything else up in value? Yeah. But if you're holding on to dollars, what happened to you? It went down in value. They want you to stay poor. They want to keep getting rich. Don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do. So now let's put up this week's numbers. We started this back in February because I want you to see over time, depending upon when you start watching this show, the progression. Savings, CD, and treasuries. I think of all of those 3 things as just ways of preserving your cash. So if you are holding cash like emergency funds, you can get short-term CDs and treasuries. So if you were to lose your job, these would become available, liquid, and you can use them. 0.45, 1.53, 5.46. We update this once a month using a government source. Inflation, as you see down there, is 3.3% still. So you're not beating inflation or barely beating inflation with these cash investments. Now, let's look at gold and silver. This was back in February. This is now June. Not a long period of time. 2050 in February, 23.43 last week. Now it's 23.71. All right, that's like a 15% gain. Your cash didn't gain 15%. Look at silver, 22 back in February, now $30, 30.42 this week. Bitcoin, 43,000 in February, 63,691. Ethereum, 22.99, In February, now 34.82. Why do I mention those two in particular? Well, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin's considered digital gold. Ethereum's considered the world's computer. I would just say, generally speaking, first mover advantage in the crypto space. They have unique properties and the reasons why they're there. Bitcoin is considered Bitcoin. Everything else is called an altcoin because they have completely different properties. But people are looking at these things as ways to preserve their wealth. Reserve banks are buying things like Bitcoin. Companies are buying things like Bitcoin. Rich people are buying things like Bitcoin. Maybe you should look into it. Again, not financial advice, but it's not a hard thing to do. Even gold and silver. You don't have to go out and buy physical gold and silver. Log into your broker, Schwab, Fidelity, IBKR, whoever it is, and you can buy an ETF for gold. I think the most popular one is GLD, is the symbol. I think silver is SLV. Bitcoin, there's a bunch of Bitcoin ETFs now, spot ETFs, which means that you're essentially just buying Bitcoin. You don't have it in your possession, but it's a quick way to get access to it, buy it or sell it at any time. All right, let's look at inflation, and we said was 3.3. Now, Treasuries, 10-year and 2-year. We look at this for a specific reason. 10-year was 4.16, now it's 4.23. The 2-year is now 4.71. Why do we look at those? 10-year Treasury is an indicator of things like where mortgage rates are going and where people think the economy and things are going in the future. But the 2-year and the 10-year, when they're inverted, and look at this chart here, inverted means that the 2-year has a higher rate of return than the 10. That doesn't make sense. If you lock your money up for a longer period of time, you should get more interest. Why would that be happening? Well, it is an indicator that we have problems and that we are in a recession. It's one of those indicators that say if these get inverted, we're in a recession. So when I talk about inversion, look at this chart here from the St. Louis Federal Reserve. It's been inverted since July of 22. It's my belief that we are in a recession, which means the economy is contracting. So we have to keep an eye on that, at least I do, to see when we're coming out of a recession. So thank you for watching. I know this was a long one. I know I pointed a lot of things out, but I'm getting frustrated with what I see being pushed through the media. Don't listen to what they're saying. Look at what they're doing. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe. Hit that like button if you appreciate the time I put into this. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I put on this particular show where we talk about the economy, how to preserve your wealth, and then I put out videos all week on helping people get out of debt. The more I can reach, the better. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.